Defensive end Josh Paschal and offensive lineman Luke Fortner are leaders on UK football's Unity Council. They planned on practicing yesterday until they saw their teammates visibly shaken by what's transpired this week. When asked what he would say to fans who might not offer that same empathy, Paschal said he hoped they would at least listen.
When people say, shut up and dribble or just stick to football, that really, that gets under my skin because at the end of the day, we all are one. We're all the same. I'm not better than Luke. Luke's not better than me. We're equal. And that's how we see each other, and that's the truth.
To listen to Josh Paschal and Luke Fortner yesterday, Keith, was to really get an inside look at just how thoughtful, compassionate these men are off the football fields. And that is all they're asking, is for you to see them as people.
Yeah, I tweeted out yesterday that True Blue fans should be so proud to have these two guys on their team and to have them helping lead this team on and off the field. And, I had one guy who came on and said, oh, it's all political, but you already know that. And I don't respond to trolls on Twitter, but I'll respond on here and say that you're not listening. And also the fact that, that's all they want you to do is just listen to what they're saying. And it's not political. It's not at all. It's a societal issue that we're looking at. There are plenty of African-American men and women who are Democrats, Republicans, Independents. Doesn't matter. They are all facing an issue right now.
It's people, not politics. Racial equality, social justice, and player empowerment are also on the mind of UK's KEION Brooks. As we've talked about recently, the sophomore basketball forward is taking a high-profile off-the-court role this year with appointments to the NABC Player Development Coalition and the SEC Council on Racial Equality and Social Justice. He talked about that with the media this afternoon and was also asked about fan pushback when players speak up.
We have strong views on topics just like the fans do. And I think they just want us to go out there and entertain them for an hour or two and then just shut up. But that's not going to work. That's not how this is.
Brooks also said while he needs to educate himself more on Adolph Rupp, from what he does know, he would like to see the name of Rupp Arena changed. Keith, there was also a moment where he said at one point he glanced into his cell phone and his reflection reminded him of George Floyd. And if that doesn't cut you to the core and beg you to listen, I don't know what does.
I can't even imagine. The thing that has impressed me with KEION Brooks is we all expect like this great growth from year one to year two because we've seen it for the guys that have come back for a second year on the court. But what's been impressive with him is to see how vocal he is now. And you're seeing what a leader he is going to be for this team just because of what he's doing off the court and the way he handled himself in that press conference.
Yeah, he's not shying away from that leadership role either, which is wonderful. Coach Cal is also celebrating KEION's new off-court roles. We talked to Cal about the news recently during our interview for our new show here on LEX 18, BBN Game Day.
Will speak his mind. He's got courage enough to do that. It's going to be great. And they're going to have influence on scheduling, non-conference basketball. This is a basketball group that he's on. And so it's players from around the country coming together to say, how do you want this to be for you?
You can see more of my one-on-one interview with Coach Cal tomorrow morning on the premiere episode of BBN Game Day, right here, LEX 18, 8:30 a.m. as part of our new exclusive partnership with UK Sports. And Keith, I understand you are going to be there too.
I will. Thank you for having me. And I had the chance to talk to Coach Stoops, and so it's interesting to hear some of his comments, a little bit before all of this walkout and everything happened, but still interesting to hear what he has to say about the upcoming season, what it's like to practice during a pandemic, and how Terry Wilson looks out there.
Keith and I will be hosting BBN Game Day tomorrow morning. Please check it out. We're so excited about it. Now, to the latest developments in the Breonna Taylor case in Louisville. Taylor's ex-boyfriend has been arrested on drug charges. Jamarcus Glover was not dating Taylor at the time of her death, wasn't at her apartment the morning she was shot and killed by LMPD officers. But Glover had been the focus of a narcotics investigation, which eventually led officers to execute the no-knock warrant that resulted in Taylor's death. Glover claims Taylor had no involvement in illegal drug trafficking. Meanwhile, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul claims a mob of about 100 people, angered over delays in the Taylor case, attacked him last night following the conclusion of the GOP National Convention. He wants the FBI to investigate. Keith, that, going after Rand Paul, going after Mitch McConnell, as we've sometimes seen happen in restaurants, is not the way to get things done. However, I would rather the FBI focused on the Breonna Taylor case than this.
Yeah, very true. That's well said. Although I will say I did look at the video watching Rand Paul trying to walk through the streets. It was kind of unnerving, and I still knew he was okay, and then he made it back to wherever he was going. But you're right, that's just not the way to handle it. And it's also, like Rand wanted, not the way to handle it for the FBI. Let's let them concern themselves with Breonna and all the other cases that are happening right now, like Jacob Blake.
We all want to be treated like human beings. So extend that courtesy to Rand Paul, to Mitch McConnell when they are out. Yes. I just believe that. All right, Governor Beshear and the KHSAA have both weighed in on the future of high school sports for the fall here in Kentucky. Today, the Department of Education took up the matter. Now, just ahead of the meeting with our health commissioner, folks at the KDE say they took some 12,000 phone calls over a 6-hour period yesterday, some of them involving threats from people worried about the panel moving to cancel or delay sports. But the interim commissioner says the only intent of the meeting was to get more clarity on how best to handle the situation from a health standpoint, not to overrule the KHAA's decision to play. Keith, there was like wild rumors yesterday that they were just going to decide no fall sports. That was not true. Julian Tackett, the commissioner, laid out a presentation that was so impressive. You could tell they have done the work and the research.
Yeah, and they just had some questions they wanted to go through, and I thought it was interesting listening to some of that, because there were people like Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman, who's a former coach. Her husband's a coach. She has kids that play, and she was saying, we have to be careful about this. We can't just, we have to be there for our children. And then Alvin Johnson had a great point that, we can't keep kicking the can down the road, because these kids have been practicing since June. If we ask them to practice from June till mid-September and then try and start a season, they've been practicing that long. Why not play games?
Yeah, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. And that seems to be what's going to happen. All right, let's turn to UK football. It seems Terry Touchdown has his swagger back. This week, the Cats quarterback joined the Paul Feinbaum Show to discuss his return to the field. Terry is ready to show the world what he can do in 2020, saying he feels more confident and comfortable under center, and he thinks the team is ready to take the next step as well, even if there are still doubters.
I feel like it just drives us, it makes us work harder. It builds that chip on our shoulder that we need to have. Everybody is, is going to be able to, sleep on us, but, we're out here putting in the work and getting better each day. It just boosts our confidence. We want to go prove everybody wrong. And
Wilson backs up reports that he is 100% following an off season of rehab for his torn ACL. But he also says he will not take advantage of the NCAA's blanket waiver for an additional year of eligibility due to the pandemic. So this is his last ride in Big Blue. And Keith, Mark Stoops said if there's ever a team built at Kentucky to play 10 straight SEC games, this one is it.
Yeah, for sure. And he's a big reason why. And I'm really kind of bummed out that he's not going to take advantage and play one more season. Maybe he'll change his mind if they end up losing some of those 10 games. But we still got Max Duffy, right? So maybe he'll come back for another year.
Max Duffy will be our first 40-year-old player at some point, and I love it. I'll keep him forever. Up next on Hey Kentucky, he went from a fan favorite on the gridiron to directing players behind the scenes at Kentucky. Up next, I'll go one-on-one with former UK linebacker Courtney Love. Stay with us.